All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? I am Is There No One Else? The video I'm bringing you today, me and my buddy, want to talk about one of the most problematic sets, monster sets in the game, and that is Earthgore. Before, you go raging in the comment section, please just hear me out. I'm gonna talk about the set, and I'm gonna talk about alternatives and what other sets provide, and what Earthgore provides compared to those alternatives. Because at the end of the day, we should get a baseline for how other sets operate to compare, what Earthgore is providing compared to alternatives. So, with that being said, guys, let's dive into it. Earthgore is a powerful set. First of all, it's an AoE heal. The tooltip for the heal is 30,000 at base. It can negate ground damage effects or just effects. It can negate, and it provides a bunch of healing over a short period of time. On top of that, it's not an RNG proc like a lot of other monster sets in the game. It's a proc when somebody drops below 50% health. Now, if we look at the monster sets, and I can provide a link to this website, and you go and you look through all the monster sets, there are only two sets that provide this type of RNG based or this type of stipulation, and it's Troll King and it's Earthgore, and those are two of the most powerful sets in the game. When you think about monster sets and how strong some sets are, and and you compare them and what they provide and how they provide it, there are no other sets that do what Earthgore and Troll King do. If you want a survive or if you want a sustained set, Engine Guardian's fantastic. But Engine Guardian does not proc on your lowest resource. It doesn't provide an RNG proc based on whatever your lowest percentage resource is. Can you imagine how powerful Engine Guardian would be if you're at low health and then your RNG proc for Engine Guardian gives you health? If you're at low stam, it gives you stam. If you're at low mag, it gives you mag. Like, that would be a ridiculous set. If we talk about another very powerful set, Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn's one of those universal monster sets, and it's very, very good. It provides 6,000 of each resistance, and it provides ulti-gen, and it gives you stamina recovery. Those are three things that can be used on any class. And it's good. It has 100. It can have up to 100% uptime when you're fighting outnumbered. So what that happens with that set is it's essentially roughly 10% damage mitigation plus ulti-gen. Now, 10% damage mitigation is nice. It's a nice set. But Bloodspawn doesn't... The difference between Bloodspawn and Earthgore is Bloodspawn won't protect you from yourself. It won't protect you from mistakes. You still have to heal. You still have to pop an ultimate. You still have to line of sight. You still have to do these things. When you have Earthgore and you provide the stipulation of standing in a Purify and you get knocked below 50% health, all you have to do is stand there. And it's going to give you a ton of healing over a short amount of time, and it saves you from making mistakes. And there have been times where I've been on my healer with Earthgore, and I have 4, 5, 6 people beating on me. If Earthgore goes off on top of me, I don't have to use an ultimate. I don't have to heal myself. All I have to do is heavy attack to get my stamina back so I can get back to block casting once Earthgore goes down. Once Earthgore goes down, I go into my practice incantation, or I pop a resto ult. And now all of a sudden I can't die again because I have major protection and I have heals going out. And then all I have to do is go into Mistform and I kite around a little bit longer. If Earthgore goes off again, I go back to doing that again. It is a very strong set for that reason, because you don't have to heal to stay alive. You don't have to do anything to stay alive. There's no other set that does that for outside of Troll King that gives you that on-demand heal. The reason we're talking about this is, when we talk about balance in the game as far as monster sets go and what they provide, one of the biggest issues in PvP is how powerful Earthgore is. When we talk about, and the reason I wanted to bring this up is, for those of you guys that have been playing for 3-4 years on ESO, you remember at one point that large groups were getting more AP for being in a large group. The way it scaled, you just got more AP being in a large group, so it benefited people to be in a large group. They got rid of that because it just didn't make any sense. Like, why should you get more AP just because you're running with more people? Your AP gain should be based off of what your group is doing, not how many people you have in your group. For a long time, there were AoE caps, and it benefited you to be in a large group because you took less damage in an AoE area. And so, yeah, a few people would take the brunt of it, but most people would take a lot less damage because of the AoE caps. And so when you're fighting, it once again benefited being in a large group. I remember times when I was very new starting off in this game, and I was running with experienced people. I'm talking like I had 30 CP guys, or I was vet 10, and when vet 14 was the high rank. I remember being in some of these groups, and people are like, all right, guys, when you go into the keep, stack on top of each other. Get as tight as possible because of AoE caps. That's what they wanted you to do, because that would increase your survivability. That shouldn't work that way. Like, big groups shouldn't have a built-in advantage because they're a big group. And so when we talk about Earthgore does the same thing. When you're a big group and you can turtle up by just balling up on top of each other, you're defending a keep or you're attacking and you're all grouped up. Earthgore is saving the asses of a large amount of people more often than they're saving a smaller amount of people, because the smaller group is kiting, they're line of sighting, they have to do all these things. They're not afforded the benefit of standing in an Earthgore proc to protect them. When you go back and you look at my video, the couple of the clips that I posted early on, both those fights were much longer. And one of the people I was trying to kill, they were standing on a siege, and they weren't defending themselves, they weren't healing themselves, but Earthgore went off because somebody else randomly popped him a heal at some point. I think a healing ult actually went off at that point, but if you see the healing ult, I would have killed them with the healing ult. I wasn't killing them with the Earthgore. And that's the problem, when we talk about these sets and these conditions. And I know, we've gotten a long ways into it when I'm just talking about Earthgore, but, some of you guys are going to disagree with me. Some of you guys play with Earthgore, you run with Earthgore, and you love it. I mean, I would say about 40 to 50% of the player population right now is running Earthgore in PvP. I think a lot of them know that it's overpowered, and that's why they're running it. But I think some people really do think that it's just a balanced set and it's good, and we shouldn't adjust it at all. Like, I've seen a lot of that in the forums as well. And so for those of you guys that think that, if you're watching this video, let me provide just a counter. If you think it's fair for Earthgore to exist, just a hypothetical thing, for it to exist in its current format, would you be okay with there being a counter set that instead of it providing healing, it does everything that Earthgore does? It's an AoE damage dealing ult that procs on somebody when they're below 50% health, and it can remove a healing effect. And it can happen every 35 seconds. So if 6 of you are standing on a siege and I'm wearing the set and I drop oil on you, and one of the people in your group is a bombing Mag Nightblade, and I drop below 50% health, now all of you guys are taking 30k at base damage over 3 seconds that can scale higher. And it can remove healing effects from you, from the area. So now you're taking less healing because it's removing an effect, and you're taking more damage. Does that sound like a balanced sort of thing? Because it's definitely not. And so, in my opinion, when we look at monster sets, I think oftentimes, we're always really worried about how monster sets do damage. We're always concerned about, okay, well, is this too strong? Is this proc too strong? Like, Celine's was very strong. Veladreth is very strong. Like, we're always worried about how these sets proc because, there's no counterplay sometimes, and people don't like to get nuked with no counterplay. I think we have to look at healing sets in the same way. In my opinion, a set shouldn't exist that can save you while you're in your inventory, which is what Earthgore can do. Now, my counter to all this, and what I think it should adjust to, is if you want to keep it an AoE-based thing, and you want to keep the monster set powerful, when it procs, provide healing received, or healing done, whatever. Like, I would say healing received because it's people in that group. So, if your Earthgore procs, the people in that group take 10, 15, 20% healing received. You still have to heal. You still have to do something, but they get an added benefit. So if you do want to run in a tight group and you do want to use the benefits of Earthgore, that is a very powerful potential monster set for those good healers in the game. It's not going to save people from themselves. It's not going to save you from your poor gameplay. Like, you still have to do something, which would put it in line with all of the other sets. You know, all of the damage sets are RNG damage sets. They just randomly do damage. They don't do damage when somebody's at 40% health or 30% health or 20% health. A lot of the other tanky sets are RNG procs that give you resistances or major protection or, you know, something like that. Like Pirate Skeleton and Bloodspawn come to mind. There's nothing wrong with having powerful healing sets. There's just something wrong with providing sets that benefit players without them having to do anything. And so, going back, discussing the large group situation, you know, there's nothing wrong. I'm not talking about like saying this like, hey, you know, I solo on all these different builds. I should be able to kill 12 people. I want you to give me overpowered stuff to allow me to kill people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't give groups sets that can completely... Bad groups should die to good players. That's just the way it should be. Like, you shouldn't have it. You already have the added benefit of having more people, more ultimates, more burst, more healing, more survivability, more resources. You already have all those built-in advantages fighting a smaller group when you're a larger group. You shouldn't have an RNG proc to heal a group of people that are getting focused when they need it the most. And when you think about the cooldown for Earthgore, 35 seconds, you know, there are some classes that get their ult back faster than 35 seconds, and they can burst again before the cooldown of Earthgore ends. But there are a lot of classes that aren't, that can't do that. You know, people running Meteor, they can't do that. You know, so if let's say you're on a Sork and you're fighting a group of people and they're all bottled up, you know, using Earthgore, you drop a Meteor, you burst somebody to low health, Earthgore goes off, it saves them. Well, by the time you get your Meteor back, that Earthgore will be off of cooldown again. And so then you have to do it all over again. And it becomes this battle of attrition where the outnumbered group, you know, is using more resources trying to survive, trying to dish out damage, trying to kill somebody in a quick burst. And the larger group is just wearing on them because, you know, they're getting these added benefits. You know, they could just stand in the Earthgore and they can get their resources back really quickly. The smaller group doesn't have those bonuses. So I'm going to end that video here, or this video here. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. Wanted to know what you guys think. Like I said, I just think Earthgore needs a rework. I would like to see it provide something like, if you are healing, it provides a ton of healing done or healing received. Not healing done, healing received would be better. So that it provides incentive, so that the good healers running Earthgore can really benefit from it. But if you're some cheese dick Stam Nightblade out there running the set, like you have to do something. You have to be able to do other things defensively besides stand in a circle when you take damage. So that's it. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.